What do you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be an actress when you're a big grown up?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be an actress.
Yeah.
And my mom was an actress, so she really got me into it, and she's my coach now.
It feels like that kind of became your relationship with your mum, but you didn't want to disappoint her.
That was my entire relationship with her. And after every take, the only person whose opinion mattered to me was hers. I've desperately sought her approval for my entire life. And I said to her, I just want you to be my mom. All she said was, you owe me. And she walked out. It was disappointing to find out that it was money, didn't care to have a relationship with me, was a tough pill to swallow.
All I wanted was to discover what it was like to have a normal mother-daughter relationship.
Like I had this beautiful plan in my head, and then I had my daughter. I knew something was just terribly, terribly wrong. I was sitting there getting the C-section, and I knew that I was knocking on death's doorstep.
I saw nurses moving frantically, picking up objects and moving them to the side. I saw Vlad hustle out of the room, looking back at me with terror, and I heard the door click shut, sealing me into the sterile operating room.
And I just had the most motherly moment where I said, God, please let me hear my daughter cry.
I closed my eyes and started to pray. Please, God, please let my daughter be okay.
From as a young age, I was dreamt of becoming a mom. Like it was something that I always knew that I would be, always wanted to be. And I had all these ideas in my head of the kind of mother that I was going to be. And I was going to get them into all these different extracurricular activities and made sure that they spoke different languages. And I had this beautiful plan in my head.
Hayden's dream of becoming a mum was so vivid. A life she had pictured in detail and wanted deeply. Perhaps it meant so much to her because her own experience as a daughter had been so painful. Hayden's mum was a former actress who put her daughter in front of the camera at just 8 months old. From then on, Hayden's childhood became all about her career. And as Hayden grew up, the lines between work, family, and love became harder to separate.
Growing up with her as being my coach, my momager, her being proud of me and happy with my performance, that was the most important thing in the world to me. I've desperately sought her approval for my entire life. You know, she was the person after every take that I looked to. I wouldn't look to the director or the producers or anybody else. I would find her, and I had to make sure that she was happy with it and I wasn't in trouble, because if I didn't do it right, I was in trouble.
Hayden dedicated herself to doing a good job, and by the time she was 17, she had appeared in more than 30 film and television productions. But even as she worked to make her mother proud, she was often made to feel that her success came at a cost.
I remember her actually turning to me one night and saying, "You're the reason why I'm missing my son growing up." It was because of me. It was because of what I was doing. And it was my fault. I wanted to say to her, but I didn't ask you to take me on auditions.
When she landed the role of Claire in Heroes, Hayden's fame reached a whole new level. But while the world watched her become one of the most beloved young stars on TV, behind the scenes, she was struggling to find her independence.
I was so used to following the directions of the people that I respected, the people that I worked with. If they told me to jump, I jumped. If they told me to wear this, I wore that. You know, I trusted them more than I ever trusted myself. I wasn't raised to trust myself except for my instincts as an actor. That was instilled in me, but as a person, it was a completely different story.
Hayden knew she needed to learn to trust herself and start making her own choices, even if that meant finally facing her mother.
For 19 years, Mom and I had been living each other's lives. Now, I'd grown up, and it was time for me to be in the driver's seat of my own life. I asked Mom to come to my trailer on the Hero set one day, and that's where I broke the news.
I said, I don't want to work with you together anymore. I just want you to be my mom. And she just looked at me, and the only thing that came out of her mouth was, "You owe me." And she walked out. It was disappointing to find out that it was money. Once the business aspect was removed, I was hoping that if I remove this, then that there will be no reason for her to be anything other than my mom. It seemed like she didn't care to have a relationship with me.
I knew I'd done the right thing, but I sensed something in me had died. It was the part of me that still felt like Mommy's baby girl. For my entire life, all I wanted was to discover what it was like to have a normal mother-daughter relationship.
Despite the heartbreak of watching her mother walk away, Hayden was finally beginning to build a life of her own. And for a while, things seemed to be falling into place. Her career was thriving, she was discovering who she was outside of her mother's influence, and in 2009 at a charity event, she met someone who would change her life in a very different way.
I was 20 years old that Vlad and I actually connected and started dating.
He seemed strong and steady and like someone you could count on. He was polite and friendly and didn't cross any boundaries, but at the same time, there was something exotic and new about him. If stability and excitement can exist at the same time, it was what I'd encountered when I met Vlad.
Hayden and Vlad dated on and off for several years before getting engaged. By then, Hayden had found another career-defining role in Nashville, a hugely successful series that earned her 2 Golden Globe nominations. Then, in 2014, Hayden learned that she was pregnant. After years of imagining the mother she'd hoped to become, that life was finally beginning to feel real. But when the moment she had dreamed of arrived, it became one of the most frightening experiences of her life. After giving birth, Hayden was rushed into emergency surgery when her blood wouldn't clot and doctors feared she would bleed out.
I don't know if it was the drugs I'd been given or divine intervention, but suddenly a sense of calm flooded my body, and I was no longer afraid of dying. I knew everything that would transpire after I'd bled out was going to be fine. I'd done my job having the baby. I'd lived a good life, and I'd tried hard to be a good person. My family loved me, and I'd loved them. Vlad was going to be a great dad, even if he had to do it without me. I'd miss being a mom, but it was okay.
She spent 3 hours on the operating table and received 7 blood transfusions, and by some miracle, she made it through.
When I woke up in the recovery room, I was exhausted, disoriented, and racked with pain. Vlad was in the room holding a sleeping Kaya, and he brought her to me and perched on the edge of my hospital bed. "She is so little," I said, noticing her delicate fingers.
After everything that had happened, it seemed like the worst was finally behind her. But when Hayden returned home with a baby she'd dreamed about for so long, she began to realize that something still wasn't right.
I wasn't connecting with her the way that I knew I should be. I never felt any hostility or negativity towards my child, thankfully. But I was full of stress and anxiety all the time, and what I was doing to suppress those emotions was not normal, and it was not healthy. I did what I had seen family and the people around me do whenever they were depressed or stressed out or anything, which was reach for a bottle. It is a depressant, so over time it made things worse, not better. At about 4 months old, I finally went to Vlad and I said, I need help. I can't live like this anymore. Something is terribly wrong.
Hayden checked herself into a rehab facility where she was treated for alcoholism. But even after getting help, she still didn't feel like herself. The depression remained, and Hayden began to fear that nothing was going to make it better.
I had this gorgeous, sweet angel child, healthy. I was so lucky and blessed, and I was just a mess. I was just a mess, and there was nothing that I could do to fix it. It took me probably about 10 months to really realize what it was that was going on, of me researching and figuring it out myself.
Hayden realized she was suffering from severe postpartum depression. Finally, having a name for what she was going through gave her some answers, but it didn't give her the support she desperately needed.
There were a lot of people who didn't believe it. They just thought I was being a crazy woman, an overly emotional female, and that it was my choice whether or not to be depressed. And it was so out of my control. And so it became this horrible cycle for years of battling depression and anxiety and alcoholism and substance abuse and me just trying to find my way back, my way out of this darkness. I would have done anything and tried anything.
This was nothing like the motherhood Hayden had imagined. The beautiful plan she'd carried with her for years, raising her daughter, growing together, creating the relationship she'd always longed for, was falling apart. By this point, Hayden and Vlad's relationship had come to an end. Vlad was Ukrainian, and Kaya began spending much of her young life traveling between her parents in America and Europe. It was a routine Hayden was slowly getting used to, until one day, Vlad came to her with a request that would change everything.
I thought she was going over to visit him like she always did. She went back and forth between me in Nashville and Ukraine, and then once she was over there, it was immediately, I want full custody of her. I did not have a good reaction to it. I went like mother lion. I would have burnt the world down for my child.
Then I thought of Kaya, my blue-eyed beauty with blonde ringlets and a smile so sweet it could break your heart.
Hayden looked back at her own childhood, a life shaped by her mother's demands, constant instability, and decisions that so often were made for her. Even now, as an adult, a sense of safety was something she still struggled with.
Kaya's life didn't have to be that way. Could I fight Vlad? Sure. Did I want to? Yes. But should I? No. I couldn't do it to my Kaya. I signed the papers, and Vlad got our child.
As mothers, you have to make decisions that, weigh on us. I felt horribly guilty. But at the same time, I was trying to tell myself that if I'm not okay, if I'm not good, then I cannot be the best mom to you. I was going through such a hard time that I knew the most unselfish thing that I could do was to make that hard decision and just try to work on myself.
When the media found out about Hayden's decision, her deeply personal choice was suddenly picked apart by the public.
I was walking through the airport and it said something like why Hayden chose to give up her daughter. People are like, how dare you, you're a horrible mother. I could never do that to my child. The idea that anybody would think that I would just give away my child and be okay with it couldn't be further from the truth. Signing those papers was like the most heartbreaking thing I've ever had to do in my life.
I grieve that I'm not the mother I thought I'd be, and definitely not the mother I want to be.
Hayden tried to work through the heartbreak by focusing on her recovery. She returned to treatment and began the long process of rebuilding her life. And as she got healthier, motherhood became less about holding on to the life she'd imagined and more about doing what she believed was best for her daughter.
by the time I finally got healthy, I felt like it would have been unfair of me and selfish of me to try to pull her out away from this life that she was living, an incredible life.
In choosing not to uproot her daughter simply because she wanted her back, Hayden gave Kaya something she had spent so much of her own childhood searching for.
Kaya is talented and wise beyond her years, but she didn't ask to be born into the limelight or my chaos, and she didn't get to choose her parents. I want her to have every choice that I didn't.
She's an incredible little girl, so happy, and speaks 5 languages and rides horses, and knows that she's got 2 parents that love her. I know in my heart that she feels supported. I have an incredible relationship with her. I travel as much as I can. I see her. I do spend a lot of time on FaceTime with her. She in no way feels abandoned. And that's something that I've made sure to stay on top of and be very aware of. And I think it's also good to lead by example as a parent.
I take full responsibility for my part in our relationship and my shortcomings as a mom. I believe I have the opportunity to be a different kind of parent than most.
It's not been an easy road, which is why I wanted to, put it all out there, write this book, and share my story with everyone. I just hope that by sharing my experiences, it can inspire and help other people. I feel more empowered right in this moment than I have felt probably in my entire life. And it's like a weight that's come off my chest.
Sometimes life has been really hard, but through those difficult times, I've always made the choice to grow. I never want to stop evolving and changing for the better, and I'll forever be a work in progress. But one thing I know from my 36 years in the public eye is this: life is a process that evolves day by day, year by year, and like it or not, you are engaged in a cycle of growth until the moment you take your last breath.